For people who have been teaching at home, or professional teachers, this may be very obvious, but for those of us, like myself, who are beginners and really figuring this out as we go along, this is a list of things that I've put together that have absolutely helped me improve the quality of my teaching and working with my kids at home. I don't know what the foreseeable future will look like, so I'm going to continue to try and develop and share what I'm finding that works with my kids, and I would always love to hear what you find works with your kids. So for me, the home teaching process, it's extremely helpful to follow a curriculum. Khan Academy is a great place. They have curriculum laid out. I've reached out to our teacher from last year who taught my daughter's first grade course and have requested that she connect us with the second grade teacher to find out what second grade's curriculum will look like so we can be prepared. Code.org is a wonderful site. We've actually started coding. My oldest daughter, who's 6, and my youngest daughter, who's 4, started. And they make it very accessible. And then you can look at the code and start to understand what JavaScript looks like. Decide on the subjects for your day. Make sure to prepare your materials so that way everything flows. Prepare your mind. Be flexible, be positive, be kind, be focused. Don't use your phone. This is really going to distract you if you keep your phone next to you. And as adults, we have so many little habits that can interfere. So just keep it away from you. Focus on your child. Focus on your child's work. Be supportive. Really let them know that they're doing a great job. And there was a video or an article that a friend of mine shared on Facebook a long time ago. And I think it was referring to a child who was having difficulty with some math. And the child said, "I'm no good at math." And this article suggested that you can modify things like a statement of, "I'm no good at doing math." You can modify it to say something like, "You're not good at math yet, but you will be." So, creating the idea that there is an open future and making sure to maintain hope and enthusiasm. Concentrate on your child's strengths. Really, emphasize and encourage them. Trust your child. An example of this is I was working on coding with my daughter and she said, "I already know how to do this." And, I wanted to review some of the material with her because review is also important. But she really did know how to do it, and it was time to move on. Prepare your workspace. This means whatever desk or table it is that you're going to use. If you have limited space like we do, we live in an apartment, so much of the flat surface areas that we're able to do work on are multi-purpose. But whenever it's time to actually do the schoolwork, the table that we're working at gets completely cleaned off. There are no toys, no food. It's absolutely clean, so it's not sticky. We're often working at the dining room table. I like it because we have a circular dining room table. And make sure that it's comfortable for everyone. If you're sitting in a chair that's not comfortable for you, that's going to come out in how you are interacting with your kids. If the chairs are not comfortable, for instance, if they're sitting too low to the table, again, that's going to come out, and it's not necessarily going to be a reflection of how they feel about learning. But if they're uncomfortable, then it's just going to create a barrier to learning. So make sure everyone's comfortable. It sounds so obvious and simple, but some of these things can be overlooked. Schedule time. I'm not even necessarily talking about the time of the day. I'm not saying at 1 o'clock do this, at 2 o'clock do this, at 3 o'clock do this. I'm just talking about the lesson duration. There is a lot of research around that suggests and supports the idea that the optimal learning window for concentration is about 20 to 25 minutes. There are major legacy issues inside of our current education system, everywhere from probably kindergarten, I'm not really sure, all the way up through graduate school. I remember in graduate school having these absurdly long classes that 3 or 4 hours at a shot, which is absurd. What makes it even more ridiculous is that it was clinical psychology. So we're talking about professors who should be aware of what the research says, but I think they're more interested in just getting stuff done on their schedule rather than optimal learning for their students. But that's a different story. Be consistent. Be consistent. This is super important. Repetition is what is going to continue to encourage your child's habits of learning, and it is also going to reinforce what it is that they're learning. So if we lose consistency, then they will fall back. It's pretty much a use it or lose it kind of situation, and we are developing habits now that hopefully will stretch forward long into their future. Finally, prime your child. Priming is a well-known psychological tool, and what it is basically it says, this is what we're going to do. And it helps your child and it helps you to prepare your mind for whatever it is that you're about to do. Give your child input on specific choices. Don't ask a general question of like, what do you want to learn today? That's really broad. Instead, make sure that you have your plan together, maybe 3 or 4 things: math, coding, reading, and art, and ask, what would you like to start with today? Would you like to start with math, coding, reading, or art? And let them decide. Give them some power over what it is that they will be doing. That's it. I hope it's helpful. And